And welcome back to more Grief Syndrome. So last time we finished stages 3 and 4, so all that's left is stage 5. To take on the final regular level, we'll be playing as Madoka finally. Alright, so this is kind of based on a couple of episodes. It's a little bit complicated. But first, Madoka doesn't have side specials. She just has a regular arrow attack that she can charge. So she plays a little bit differently. I'm not sure how I feel about Madoka's playstyle. She's definitely good, but very different than the others, because she doesn't really have like combo potential in the traditional sense. My preferred strategy for playing as Madoka is to basically just try to keep the enemies backed away from you and just kind of stun lock them with arrows. By the way, it doesn't help that we're level 1 and the enemies are like level 15 at this point. We will get to like level 20 by the end of this, so we will be fine for the final boss, but it's a little scary in the meantime. So, between all the stuff with Sayaka and the finale, a lot of plot is revealed, specifically about Homura. Basically, there's this big catastrophe that, she keeps going back in time to try to stop. So that's why she's so insistent early on that Madoka can't become a magical girl, because every time she dies in the process, and then Homura goes back in time to try to undo everything. So, at this point, whether this is based on the flashback or the actual series is obviously up for debate, but so this is the, like, big cataclysm at the end of everything, where Madoka, traditionally in the series, does die. By the way, her weak attack is just rapid-fire arrows. Again, not super helpful, but Madoka's best move is her special, where she just kind of rains down arrows, like that. It's obviously, again, very risky to use, like so, but it's very overpowered. If you are having trouble with a boss, Madoka will shred through the boss, no problem. So, yeah. So, at the end of the series, basically, let's see, Sayaka's gone, Kyoko's gone, more on that later, because we saw one more stage left, technically, that we'll take on as a post-game thing. Yeah, so the only characters who are left are Madoka and Homura, actually, so a lot happens. I don't know if I'm really gonna go into the ending, because it actually is not reflected in this game. Things play out differently, so I don't think I'm gonna go into the ending of the actual series, just like the setup type stuff. Yeah, you can see how broken this move is, but again, you have to be very careful when using it to avoid getting hit in the process. Also, you can stun lock the enemies out of attacking, so I feel like Madoka actually is a pretty good choice because she has long range, like so. Piercing arrows definitely help to kind of just take down a row of enemies all at once and stun lock a bunch, like that. See, we're already up to level 13, we'll be fine for the boss, but it's a little scary when you start at level 1 every time. This is like one of the cooler looking stages, because I feel like this one's more set like in the real world, and not like in some abstract dimension, kind of like the others. So it's a very different feel to it. So yeah. Not the most interesting playstyle. I feel like Madoka is great, but I prefer to play as other characters. I think Kyoko and Homura tend to be my go-to characters, partly because I just genuinely enjoy their character arcs in the series. But Madoka is definitely like probably one of the easiest characters to pick up because she has so few like moves. It's kind of a timing thing, actually, like getting a rhythm for firing off each arrow, like so. Like, if you get really good at this, you can basically be unstoppable. You have to develop a rhythm for it, though, because if you tap the button too soon, you won't start charging, you'll just kind of stand there like that. So yeah, you have to wait until the previous attack animation fully finishes, and that can be a little tricky with Madoka. So yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it. Despite being the main character of the series, Madoka spends a very small amount of the series being an actual magical girl, because Homer is trying to stop her most of the time, minus in the flashbacks and I guess part of the finale. Yeah, it's a really good ending, I would say, and I feel like that's kind of where a lot of people have issues with the third movie. By the way, the movies are called Beginnings, Eternals, and Rebellion. So, if I'm not mistaken, the first movie, Beginnings, covers like the first like multiple episodes. It's not an even ratio, by the way, for the movies. Like, Beginnings covers more episodes because less is happening. Eternal ends up covering a very small amount of episodes, but they're just very dense episodes. And then Rebellion is entirely original. Yeah, Rebellion tends to be very polarizing because it's kind of like adding an ending to something that didn't need another ending. It's kind of the big risk with sequels, I feel like, in general, to like beloved media, is continuing something that already finished up is risky, because if you mess up that new ending, then what? And that's kind of where a lot of people are at with Rebellion. It's why people were hoping for a fourth movie, but it's been like 7 years. I don't think it's gonna happen. Has it been that long? I don't remember, because I saw it so much later than when it came out, because everyone was like, please do not watch Rebellion. And then years later I was like, I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm curious at this point. And I ended up enjoying it for what it was, but I do agree that it was slightly unnecessary. And not only was it unnecessary, it just kind of sucks because of the lack of any resolution beyond that movie. So yeah, like, if they had followed it up with something else, I don't think I would mind Rebellion as much, but having that be the actual finale is just kind of like, wow, that kind of sucks. Alright, so we should be getting relatively close to the boss. There are a few landmarks I tend to keep in mind. But yeah, like, just fire off an arrow like that and you'll be fine. I'm trying to not go too trigger happy with the arrows to avoid like being in like kill range. I'd like to go in with a decent amount of health, even though the final boss is not that bad, especially with Madoka. The final boss is super easy, actually. So yeah, we should only have a couple more screens left before the actual boss herself, but level 20, so we are good to go, since the boss is level 20. If we can hit level 21, it'd just be overkill, like, it would speed things up slightly. By the way, the secret boss, which I'll go into a little bit more later, is actually only level, is actually level 17, so it's actually impossible, I think, without grinding, to reach that level, because this level obviously is the end, so you can't go back. Since this game can only be done in one sitting, there are no saves. Yeah, there's no way to actually keep playing on the same file effectively. There's a way, but it's kind of complicated. But yeah, we should be getting close to the end. So, I don't know how to say the name of this particular boss. It's like, it's spelled W-A-L-P-U-R-G-I-S, so it's like, I think it's like Valpurgis or something? I don't know. So, the boss's hitbox is like most of the background, so Madoka's arrows just shred through the boss's health. It's not over yet though. At some point the boss becomes invincible, and thus, we have to wait out a bunch of other attacks, like this falling debris, and the enemies that spawned in throughout the first phase, and a flamethrower, because why not? By the way, unlike in Stage 3, the ground or falling off the stage will kill you, so be careful. So the boss will also try to throw a building at you at some point. I don't think she's in the range where she'll try that yet. We might not even see the attack. Actually, okay, I'm kind of staying on guard because that's also an insta-kill. Obviously, getting a building thrown at you makes sense to be an insta-kill. Look at that hit counter. That's ridiculous. We ran out of stamina. So, oh, that's bad. Okay, so first of all, we didn't even see the ultimate attack of that boss because it went so fast. Second of all, that's the game. So it's at first lap because there's kind of like a New Game Plus system where you can basically keep playing because of the time loop aspect of the series, which is kind of a neat implementation of that. There is still one more stage that I do want to go over. I don't know if I'm going to show the last optional character because it takes a lot of setup, but I might explain how to play as that character at a later time. Being an indie game, these are really short credits. Thankfully, actually. It's kind of nice having really short credits compared to modern AAA games where the credits are like 3 hours in some cases. But we actually have time to just go over a lot of the bonus episode stuff right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that while Walpurgis Night is over. So I'm going to start a new game, and I'll be right back. So to unlock the secret boss, you have to lose Sayaka. So to fight our final boss, we will be playing as Madoka. So this is Octavia, who is Sayaka's witch form after she, after her soul gem is completely corrupted and turns into a grief seed. So this happens after the fight with Elsa Maria in the story. This is actually fought by Kyoko in the anime, but for the sake of not having too rough of a time with this fight, I decided to go with Madoka instead. She's level 15, so a little bit under-leveled. As you can see, Octavia is probably one of the tougher fights because you have to go in under-leveled. There are no enemies to level off of, so it's definitely a fitting super boss of sorts. You can fight her at level 1 if you want, and it is doable if you're really good, but I am not feeling up to that. I actually did this fight at level 8, and it was kind of tricky, so I decided to go up to level 15, which is as good as I can get. Basically, maybe a little bit higher if I could have level grinded off stage 2 a little bit. So her primary attacks are these shockwaves. She can also send out giant wheels. Frankly, this game isn't well suited for avoiding obstacles, so the wheel attack I find to be very, I almost said unwieldy, but very difficult to dodge. So we haven't actually gotten that attack, which is lucky, I would say. So I think we can easily win this. I think I'm kind of cheesing this fight. I might actually hold back just to see some more attacks, but like give it a moment to see if she'll actually do this attack or not. But yeah, this is why I feel like Sayaka has the darkest storyline next to Homura, actually. There it is. But yeah, I feel like this kind of game isn't cut out for quick dodging, so it's not exactly an easy attack to avoid. Hence why I kind of wanted to just go in with Madoka and give myself a slightly easier time with this fight. But yeah, other than that, there are 2 hidden characters, so after we get through this, cool, we dodged it. After we get through this, I will show off one of them. The other is very difficult to actually unlock, so I think I'll just talk about him instead. Octavia was defeated and left Grief Seed. Alright, so to show off this character, we are going to duck back to stage 1 and, play Homura in her flashback form. So this is how Homura starts out early on in the series, before she, basically, becomes very hardened by the fact that she has been in a time loop trying to save Madoka for who knows how long. So she has a golf club as her melee. By the way, Madoka actually does have directional attacks for her aerials, but for a weak attack. She can aim up or down with her bow and rapid fire arrows. You can also charge that move as well. I discovered that while trying to level up. This form of Homura isn't great, but it's kind of a nice little Easter egg for fans of the series. The bombs actually hurt her as well, so you have to be really careful. Other than that, yeah, not much to her moveset. The other hidden character is Kyubey, who is basically the entity that recruits all of these characters to be magical girls. Basically, Kyubey is unlocked by playing in co-op and losing all but one character. Basically, Kyubey is designed to have as a bonus character in case there are no other options for player 2 to play as, or player 1, potentially. So kind of an interesting system. The amount of time it would take to unlock Kyubey and also try to play co-op by myself, I don't know how easy that would be, so I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. But with that, I think we are going to call it here for now. This is a fun little fan game, especially if you have played or have seen the anime and are a fan of it. Otherwise, a lot of the references will be lost on you, but as a fan, I can recommend it. So yeah, on that note, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for something different.